The series begins with Belly narrating the most special season of the year for her, which is summer, because she spends it at the beach house of her mother's best friend, Susanna. She explains that what makes that house truly important are the boys who live there, Jeremiah and Conrad, Susanna's sons. Belly packs her bags to travel with her mother Laurel and her brother Stephen to Susanna's house. Before she leaves, her best friend tells her that she's finally grown up, and maybe now she can have a real chance with Conrad, the boy she has had a crush on since she was 12. Belly blushes with embarrassment and insists that this summer will be different. She gazes at herself in the mirror, smiling as she realizes how much she's changed since last year, how much prettier she's become. Just then, Laurel calls out to her so they can leave. Belly says goodbye to her friend Taylor and gets in the car. On the way, Stephen stops at a gas station. Belly buys some candy and the attendant notices her, clearly impressed, and asks if she comes around often. She replies that she's there every summer, which surprises him because he says he's never noticed her before, despite how beautiful she is. Belly feels a sudden rush of happiness, since back at school, no boys ever paid attention to her because all eyes were always on her gorgeous best friend Taylor. The boy interrupts her thoughts by inviting her to a beach party that night. But before she can even think of answering, Laurel shows up and reminds her that she has to accompany her to the annual book signing, just like she has every year. Laurel even brings up memories of her childhood in front of the boy, embarrassing Belly, who leaves upset, feeling frustrated that her mother still treats her like a little kid even though she's already 16. The family continues their drive until they finally arrive at Susanna's house, where Susanna and her children greet them with joy and warm hugs. Then Conrad appears, calm and reserved as always. He greets Belly politely in a way that feels distant, unlike the casual warmth she expected. Soon after, Stephen and Jeremiah corner Belly, joking that it's time to shake things up. Before she realizes what's happening, they lift her up and run toward the pool, tossing her in playfully. The group laughs and splashes around for a while until Belly climbs out, dripping wet, and heads inside to change her clothes. Susanna is overjoyed to see Belly and treats her like a daughter, since she always wished she had a girl of her own. After changing her clothes, Belly is suddenly approached by Jeremiah, who begs her to go swim with him in the ocean because he's been waiting for her all day. Belly reminds him that she's supposed to go with her mother to the book signing, but Jeremiah keeps pressing until she finally agrees, especially since she has always loved swimming in the ocean. The two of them run together until they dive into the water, laughing and enjoying themselves. Meanwhile, Laurel is getting ready to head to the bookstore, and Susanna decides to join her, though she mentions she needs to stop by the country club first. Laurel tells her she won't be going inside because she doesn't like social gatherings. A little while later, they arrive at the bookstore, where Susanna buys books to display at an event being held at the club. Laurel notices a particular book in Susanna's hands and mocks it for being unrealistic, then teases the author's photo, laughing at his outdated glasses. Suddenly, the author himself appears behind them, explaining that he wears those glasses because his eyesight is very weak. He walks away, leaving Laurel embarrassed, and she later decides to look him up online when she gets home. Not long after, the two families gather for a meal. During lunch, Susanna suggests that Belly attend a coming-of-age party at the country club, where young people introduce themselves to society. Laurel, however, teases her daughter, saying she can't picture her in a dress, joking that she's more like a wild cat fit for the streets than the club. Belly is hurt by the comment, so she simply tells Susanna she'll think about it. Afterward, Laurel asks her daughter if having 150,000 Instagram followers is considered impressive. Belly checks the account Laurel is talking about and agrees that it's a huge number, especially for a writer. Later that day, Belly heads out to swim in the pool and unexpectedly finds Conrad sitting nearby, smoking. She's surprised and asks him why he changed his mind about cigarettes, since he had once told her how harmful they were, even explaining how they damage the brain. Conrad shrugs and says he just changed his mind, but Belly insists he should quit, reminding him that he's an athlete. Conrad tells her he's not anymore, that he quit the football team. Belly is shocked, since football was the one thing Conrad loved most, and she asks him if he's okay. Conrad gets up, says he's fine, and then walks off with Jeremiah and Stephen. The boys decide to head to the beach party, and Belly asks if she can come along, but none of them agree, leaving her behind. Upset, she goes up to her room and calls her best friend Taylor to tell her what happened. Taylor tells her she can't just sit at home waiting for the boys to come back and reminds her to check a certain spot in her bag. Belly finds a dress that Taylor had secretly packed for her in case she wanted to go to a party. Belly thanks her and decides to wear it to the beach party. She sneaks out behind her mother and Susanna without them noticing and makes her way to the party. Once there, the gas station boy spots her and comes over to talk, trying to get closer to her. But Steven sees them and intervenes, telling the boy that Belly is only 15. Belly gets angry, insisting that she's 16 now, and tells Steven to leave her alone. Instead, Steven pushes her and she falls to the ground, only to see Conrad right in front of her, sitting with another girl and kissing her. Belly is stunned and confronts him, reminding him that he once said he hated parties, drinking, and smoking, and now he's completely changed in ways she doesn't understand. Hurt, she walks away to sit by herself. Suddenly, a boy named Cam approaches her, reintroducing himself, and Belly realizes they already know each other. Delighted, she asks him to sit with her, and they start talking about the upcoming debutante party at the country club, which Cam is helping organize. Out of nowhere, a fight breaks out between Conrad and Jeremiah. Jeremiah is worried about his brother drinking too much, and things quickly get heated. Steven gets involved too, and soon they're all fighting. Belly rushes over to stop them, but she ends up getting hit by accident and falls to the ground. Just then, the sound of police sirens cuts through the chaos, and everyone scrambles to get into the car. Before leaving, Belly says goodbye to Cam, and it's clear they're interested in each other. Cam invites her to join him on the fishing boat where he works at dawn, and she agrees before leaning in to kiss him. But before they can leave, the police stop their car, discovering that everyone inside except Belly has been drinking. Their mother shows up, apologizes to the police, and promises it won't happen again. That night, Belly sleeps until dawn, then wakes up quickly to meet Cam. But she suddenly finds a note beside her bed from Conrad, asking her to meet him at a specific spot. Belly goes to see him and asks what he wants, and Conrad apologizes for what happened the previous night. She forgives him, then leaves to catch her meeting with Cam, deciding she won't let her feelings for Conrad control her every summer like before. She runs to the dock, but is disappointed to see the boat already gone because she was late. Upset, she decides instead to agree to attend the country club's debutante party. Susanna is thrilled and immediately takes her shopping for dresses to wear to club events, overjoyed at how beautiful Belly looks. Meanwhile, Steven and Jeremiah are working together at the swim club, joking around as they check out girls and pick which ones they hope to spend the summer with. Later, Belly returns home and tries on the first dress she bought with Susanna. Laurel drives her to the country club, where Jeremiah sees her and is stunned, telling her how beautiful she looks before escorting her to the party. Inside, Belly finds herself sitting with Shayla, the girl Steven likes, and Nicole, the girl dating Conrad. Feeling uncomfortable and out of place, she's tense until the conversation turns, and she realizes both girls were forced into the tradition by family expectations. When one of the girls asks if Belly is dating Jeremiah, Belly quickly explains they're just siblings in spirit, nothing more. She also discovers that the girl asking is actually interested in Jeremiah. Suddenly, Belly spots Cam walking past the hall and rushes out to talk to him. She apologizes for being late that morning, and Cam is just happy she showed up at all. He asks for her number, and they make plans to see a movie together at the drive-in theater later that night. Belly heads back home to get ready for her date, making Susanna proud and excited, while Laurel can't help but show concern for her daughter. Cam arrives in his car to pick Belly up, and the two of them are clearly happy together. Meanwhile, Susanna organizes another book signing for Laurel, drawing a big crowd from the town, including the author Laurel had once mocked, Cleveland. He chats with Laurel about her book and tells her about his upcoming project, which focuses on sailing. Even though he has no real experience with it, he explains that he wants to step into worlds he doesn't know to broaden his perspective. Laurel calls Conrad over and asks him to help Cleveland with sailing lessons, since he had won an award in it the previous year. Cleveland hands Conrad his card to set up lessons. Conrad, surprised, asks Laurel if his mother put her up to finding him work, but when he learns it was Laurel's idea, he's taken aback and walks off to sit alone, looking quietly upset. Jeremiah and Steven soon show up, and Jeremiah suggests going to the drive-in theater to mess with Belly. Steven refuses, saying he doesn't want to see his sister kissing some guy in a car, but surprisingly, Conrad insists on going, and they end up agreeing to the plan. At the theater, Belly sits with Cam in his car, holding hands, the two of them glowing with happiness. Just before they share a kiss, Belly notices her brother's car pulling up. She quickly asks Cam to grab her a drink, then storms out to confront the boys. Looking Straight at Conrad, she tells him to leave her alone. Conrad reluctantly makes the others back off, but it's clear he's jealous and upset. Later, Belly returns home with Cam, and this time they finally kiss and decide to officially start dating. That same night, Steven sneaks out of the house to spend time with Shayla, the girl he likes. When Belly comes back inside, she suddenly finds Conrad waiting for her. He asks if she enjoyed her date, and Belly tells him he needs to grow up, knowing he was the one who tried to sabotage it. Hurt, Conrad retreats silently to his room. It becomes clear that Conrad also has feelings for Belly, though he refuses to admit them for reasons unknown. The next day is Belly's birthday, the one day of the year she loves most because of all the attention and the gifts she receives. She gets ready and steps out of her room to find everyone celebrating her. Laurel gives her a book filled with her favorite poems, while Susanna presents her with a necklace she inherited from her own mother, explaining that since she doesn't have a daughter, she wants Belly to have it. Jeremiah gives her a charm bracelet for good luck. When it's Conrad's turn, he hides his gift and claims he forgot, which hurts Belly deeply, though she pretends not to care. Jeremiah quickly changes the subject by suggesting that Belly drive the car to pick up Taylor from the station. Belly agrees and goes with him, but spends most of the ride talking about Conrad's strange behavior and how Nicole doesn't seem right for him. Jeremiah tells her to forget about Conrad, pointing out that he's been acting distant long before she even arrived, and no one really knows what's bothering him. He reminds her that Cam is a kind and suitable guy, and Belly thanks him for the advice. When they arrive at the station, Taylor gets in and gives Belly her gift, which turns out to be a swimsuit. Belly thanks her, and the three return home, where they all head to the pool to swim. With Steven joining them, they splash around and have fun until Conrad suddenly walks in with his girlfriend Nicole. He sits down with her, watching them play. During the game, Taylor deliberately throws the ball at Nicole, clearly on purpose, because she's frustrated with how Conrad treats Belly and angry that he's dating someone else, even though he knows Belly likes him. Belly immediately apologizes to Nicole and gets upset with Taylor for her behavior. Conrad takes Nicole inside to tend to her face, showing his care for her, and Nicole thanks him warmly. Just before she leans in to kiss him, Conrad remembers his appointment with Cleveland and rushes out. Meanwhile, Susanna takes a walk with Laurel, and they see Cleveland giving an interview about sailing. Laurel can't help but look impressed, showing her growing admiration for him. Conrad arrives quickly and watches Cleveland, who was supposed to be helping him prepare for the interview. Meanwhile, Belly and Taylor head to the ocean for a swim. Taylor admits she's afraid of losing her best friend now that Belly has a boy she likes and new friends at the country club. Belly promises her they'll be best friends forever. Back at the house, Susanna is cooking with Laurel, who notices that Conrad seems different and asks Susanna what's wrong. Susanna urges her to talk to him, saying she feels he's been heartbroken since his first girlfriend left him. Laurel approaches Conrad and tells him he doesn't always have to act strong, that it's okay to sometimes feel weak and brokenhearted. Before Conrad can respond, she continues, reminding him that everyone his age has felt hurt and had their hearts broken, but it's never the end of the world. Conrad realizes she's talking about his ex, but deep down, something else is bothering him. He chooses to leave, letting her believe that's the only reason for his sadness. Later that evening, Belly invites Cam to dinner to meet her mother. They all sit down together, but Steven is clearly unhappy about his sister dating and keeps bringing up embarrassing stories from her childhood to annoy her. Jeremiah joins in, teasing her as well. Taylor steps in to defend Belly, embarrassing both boys and forcing them to stop. Belly then decides to attend Nicole's party, where she's surprised to find a cake waiting so everyone can celebrate her birthday. Taylor struggles to fit in and withdraws to sit alone. Belly spends time with Cam, singing and dancing together. But after a while, she grows bored and drifts toward her friends, who are gossiping about boys. From across the room, she notices Conrad standing at a distance, and she can't help but keep looking at him. Meanwhile, Taylor and Steven are waiting for the bathroom. Frustrated, they decide to search for another one elsewhere in the house. Belly later looks around for Taylor but can't find her, until suddenly she discovers her in a room with Steven. Shocked, Belly reminds Steven that he already has a girl who likes him, confused about how he could do this. Embarrassed, Steven hurries out of the room. Taylor, however, lashes out at Belly, confessing that she's had a crush on Steven for 6 years and that Belly has always known but never asked. She accuses Belly of acting like everything revolves around her, as if Taylor doesn't even exist. Belly is stunned by her words, leaves the room, and walks away, shaken. At that moment, Cam is standing with Jeremiah and Conrad, asking Jeremiah what he would do if Belly asked him to be her date to the debutante ball. Cam replies that she hasn't asked him yet, and a flicker of happiness flashes across Conrad's face, as if he knows she really wants him instead. Suddenly, Belly arrives, clearly upset, and asks Cam to drive her home. On the way, she tells him she wants to ask him something. Cam assumes she's about to invite him to the ball, but instead, she surprises him by asking if he ever feels lonely, being the only one among his friends who doesn't drink. Cam admits sadly that yes, sometimes he does. He drops her off at home, and the next day, Belly spends time with Jeremiah, who tells her to get ready for another driving lesson. She goes to grab the car keys from Conrad's room and opens the drawer of his desk, where she unexpectedly finds her birthday gift, a necklace with an infinity symbol. She immediately remembers the day he explained its meaning to her and realizes that he hasn't forgotten. She admits to herself that she could love him forever, even if he doesn't know it. Later, she heads out to practice driving with Jeremiah. When they return, Belly joins her mother to take Taylor to the station. Still hurt from the night before, Belly doesn't want to talk to Taylor. Laurel urges her to at least say goodbye, and reminding her that Taylor came all the way just for her. Belly finally goes down, tells Taylor she isn't angry, only shocked and in need of time. Taylor thanks her and leaves. Back at home, Belly sits with Steven and asks why he got involved with Taylor when he's supposed to like Shayla. Steven admits he felt insecure around Shayla. After all, she's considered the most beautiful girl in town, treated like a queen, and he never knew how to handle that. He explains that he's used to things being simpler and easier. He begs Belly not to tell anyone, especially Shayla. Belly tells him he needs to realize that both Taylor and Shayla like him, and that he'll have to make a choice. Later, Belly goes back inside, lights a candle, closes her eyes, and makes the same wish she's made every year, that Conrad will love her. At that time, Susanna is sitting with Laurel, who suggests trying alternative treatments instead of chemotherapy. But Susanna refuses, saying she wants to enjoy her final days here, that she has accepted her fate and is at peace with it. It becomes clear that Susanna is battling cancer and that her condition is beyond hope. The next day is Independence Day, and John, Belly and Steven's father, arrives. He's been separated from their mother for a year and a half and shows up with his girlfriend, Victoria. Adam, Susanna's husband, apologizes for not coming, claiming he's busy. Jeremiah is deeply upset by his father's absence, while Conrad seems relieved. Soon after, John and Victoria's car pulls up and Susanna steps out to greet them. She and Laurel mock Victoria playfully, telling her she looks prettier than the rest, and then the party begins. Shayla, Nicole, and the other country club girls arrive, and for the first time, Belly decides to drink. Cam sits with her and notices she's going overboard, so he tries to stop her, but Belly insists on enjoying herself. After a while, she sits with Nicole and Shayla. Nicole asks if Conrad really likes her, and Belly, clearly not sober, lies and says he talks about Nicole all the time. Then she turns to Shayla, blurting out that she and Taylor are so much alike that maybe that's why Steven confused the two. Shayla is shocked as she realizes Steven cheated on her with Taylor. Cam quickly steps in, pulling Belly away to defuse the situation. The girls decide to leave the party, and Cam follows soon after, telling Belly he won't talk to her again until she sobers up. It's obvious he's hurt by her behavior. Meanwhile, Adam shows up at the house, shocking Susanna when she sees him. She tells him he shouldn't have come, but he explains that Laurel called him and he thought she had forgiven him. Susanna makes it clear she hasn't and says she'll tolerate him only for the sake of the kids. She then walks away, leaving him behind. The tension between Adam and Conrad is obvious. Conrad doesn't want anything to do with his father, while Jeremiah is more willing to interact with him. Steven sees Shayla leaving and tries to talk to her, but she tells him she already knows about what happened with Taylor. She isn't upset, explaining that their relationship was never serious and they were only spending time together casually. Steven feels insulted, tells her she's right, and walks away. Later, it's time for the cake, and Susanna brings it out, but Belly, still drunk, stumbles and drops it to the ground. Adam rushes to help Susanna, but she tells him to stay away, leaving everyone confused about the tension between them. Laurel pulls Susanna aside to ask why she's treating Adam so coldly, and Susanna finally confesses that he cheated on her with his secretary while she was undergoing chemotherapy. Laurel is stunned and swears she'll kill him, but Susanna begs her not to do anything, insisting there's no point and that she doesn't want him near her while she's dying. Laurel storms off, upset, deciding to leave the house for a while. Meanwhile, Conrad is cleaning the pool when his father shows up. Conrad tries to speak calmly with him, but Adam lashes out, yelling that Conrad let Belly get drunk when he was supposed to be the responsible one watching over everyone. Furious, Conrad tells him to leave. Elsewhere, Steven confides in Jeremiah about what Shayla said, that she wasn't serious about their relationship even though he genuinely loves her. Jeremiah reassures him that girls often say things they don't fully mean and encourages him to confess his real feelings. Steven takes his advice, goes to Shayla's house, and tells her he sees their relationship as serious. Shayla admits she loves him too and decides to forgive him. Later, Belly wakes up, finally sobered, and heads downstairs for something to eat. Laurel, sitting alone at the bar, unexpectedly runs into Cleveland. They decide to go out together, and soon their friendship develops into a romantic relationship. Laurel returns to the house feeling happy, sees Belly, and chooses not to argue with her. Belly then steps outside and finds Conrad watching the fireworks. She joins him and apologizes for what happened. Conrad admits that he actually bought her a birthday gift, but was too embarrassed to give it to her. Conrad leans in toward Belly, and just before he kisses her, Jeremiah spots them. He throws fireworks in their direction to make it clear he's watching, then storms into the house, though Conrad doesn't notice. The next morning, Belly wakes up feeling overjoyed. She heads to the country club to practice her dancing and recalls memories of Conrad being the first person to ever teach her how to dance. At the club, Nicole asks her about Conrad since he hasn't answered her calls since the night before. Belly's eyes light up as she remembers the almost kiss, but she tells Nicole he's just asleep. Left without a partner to practice with, Belly admits she never asked Cam because she ruined things the night before by drinking too much. Nicole offers to step in and helps her practice herself. Meanwhile, Conrad wakes up in a cheerful mood, even making breakfast for himself for the first time. Jeremiah notices his brother's happiness and assumes it's because of what happened the previous night, growing jealous. Later, at the pool club where he works, Jeremiah finds Belly and dances with her in front of everyone, treating her differently than before. Conrad sees them but doesn't react, believing there's no way his brother could actually have feelings for Belly. Conrad waves at Belly, but Nicole mistakes the gesture for herself, leaving Belly flustered. She walks away in discomfort. Elsewhere, Laurel makes peace with Susanna, and they agree that Susanna will live her life on her own terms without Laurel interfering. Belly returns home, where Cam shows up to take her out. They sit together by the shore, but Belly feels guilty about her overwhelming feelings for Conrad. She admits to Cam that their relationship won't work because she doesn't truly love him. Though hurt, Cam thanks her for being honest and leaves. Back at the house, Jeremiah spends time with Belly, being unusually playful and charming. At the same time, Conrad is out on the boat with Cleveland, fishing. Cleveland notices Conrad's change in demeanor and guesses his happiness comes from the girl who once kept him waiting. Conrad replies that it's not her, that the girl he likes is someone he grew up with, and he isn't sure if what he feels is real. Cleveland advises him to confess his feelings. Then, in turn, he admits that he's also met a very smart and beautiful woman and doesn't know whether he should reach out to her. Conrad immediately realizes he's talking about Laurel and encourages him to call her, telling him she's truly amazing. Cleveland sends a message to Laurel, and she's overjoyed to receive it. Meanwhile, Conrad returns home and sees a drawing his mother once made of Jeremiah. His mood shifts instantly, and sadness washes over him as he realizes Susanna can no longer draw the way she used to, a reminder of her illness. Upstairs, Belly is in her room, still glowing with happiness. She comes down to talk to Conrad and tells him she broke up with Cam. With cold detachment, Conrad asks her why. Belly explains that the night before, they were about to kiss. Conrad responds that he doesn't remember because he was drunk and not in his right mind. Belly is embarrassed and stunned. Conrad apologizes, admitting he actually does remember, but he knows he can't go through with it. Every time he thinks about being with her, he feels it won't work out. Belly, firm and hurt, tells him she won't wait around for him any longer. Meanwhile, Susanna and Laurel go out together and enjoy their time at a bar. Later, Cleveland takes Laurel home, while Susanna returns to the beach house. That night, Belly goes for a swim in the pool, weighed down with sadness, when Jeremiah suddenly appears. He tells her she's his best friend, but sometimes he feels she's more than that. Belly is surprised and asks why he never told her before. Jeremiah admits that Conrad was always in the way, and this summer, Cam was too. But now there's nothing standing in between them. He asks if she feels the same. Belly hesitates, but remembers Susanna once telling her that she was certain Belly would end up with one of her boys one day. Though she had always wished it would be Conrad, she decides in that moment to let go of him. She leans in and kisses Jeremiah, and the two agree to start a relationship. Elsewhere, Laurel arrives at Cleveland's place to find he's prepared a romantic dinner for her. For the first time in a long while, she feels truly happy. The next morning, Belly wakes up after dreaming of both Conrad and Jeremiah. She takes a shower, still unsettled by her feelings. Outside, Susanna sees Conrad walking and asks him to escort Belly to the debutante ball, reminding him that Belly has always seen him as her prince. Conrad replies quietly that he'll think about it. Jeremiah runs into Belly as she's coming out of the shower, leaving her embarrassed and eager to slip away. But Jeremiah stops her, saying they need to talk about what happened the night before. Belly tells him they can discuss it later that evening. Meanwhile, Conrad is out on the boat with Cleveland when he notices rotting wood. He grows frustrated, unable to believe he overlooked something so obvious. Cleveland tries to calm him down and asks what could upset him to this degree. Suddenly, Conrad has a panic attack, struggling to breathe. Cleveland talks him through it and helps him recover. Conrad then confides that he knows about his mother's cancer, even though she doesn't want him to, and that he's afraid to say anything and ruin her plan to keep it from them. Cleveland reassures him, saying that whether or not he brings it up, Conrad isn't responsible for her illness, but talking to her would give him the chance to understand her treatment and face it together. Conrad takes this in and feels calmer. Soon after, the annual charity volleyball tournament begins. Two teams compete, with the winner earning donations for their chosen cause. Belly joins the game with Taylor, who has come specifically for the tournament. Conrad and Jeremiah sit on the sidelines watching until Nicole shows up and stands next to Conrad. He tells her he'll have to take Belly to the debutante ball because his mother asked him to, and Nicole agrees, pretending not to be upset. Midway through the match, Taylor twists her ankle, though it quickly becomes clear she staged it so Jeremiah could step in and get closer to Belly. Taylor believes Conrad isn't good for her friend. Jeremiah joins the game, but he struggles and costs their team several points. Belly grows frustrated because she wants to win, so she switches him out for Conrad. Playing alongside Conrad, Belly shines, and the two move in perfect sync. The crowd can't help but notice their chemistry, and together they win the match. Belly is overjoyed, but jealousy flashes in Jeremiah's eyes. He returns home upset, while Conrad, noticing his brother's change in attitude, doesn't understand why. Nicole invites Belly and Taylor to a party on her father's yacht. Belly agrees, and the girls get ready, though Jeremiah refuses to go because he's still hurt about Belly. Conrad, however, decides to attend with Steven. At the party, Belly and Taylor sit with the other girls playing a game of truth or dare. Nicole pointedly asks who among them has kissed Jeremiah before. Belly admits it was her, but adds that she's still unsure about where their relationship stands. Soon after, the group heads to the ocean for a swim, stripping down as a playful challenge. Meanwhile, Steven and Conrad arrive. Steven joins his friends, including Shayla, in a gambling game, but loses all his money. He notices how little it matters to everyone else, while, for him, the loss feels crushing. It drives home how different his world is from Shayla's and how out of place he feels. Back at the house, Jeremiah sits with his mother, but eventually decides to go to the party. Once there, he quietly asks Conrad if he's noticed anything strange about their mom, pointing out how little she's been sleeping. Conrad brushes it off, saying she just loves summer nights. Meanwhile, Belly and her friends notice a text on her phone. It's from Conrad, telling her that he wants to be with her at the ball, not just because his mom asked, but because he truly wants it. Nicole, furious, decides to get revenge. She steals the clothes of both Belly and Taylor and drives off with them, leaving the girls stranded. Belly breaks down when she realizes Nicole saw the message. Angry, she blames Conrad for ruining everything and calls Jeremiah to come pick them up. Back at the party, Nicole confronts Conrad about the message and breaks up with him. Conrad grabs the girls' clothes and goes with Jeremiah to the beach, where they reunite with Belly and Taylor. Belly chooses to ride home with Jeremiah, leaving Taylor to go with Conrad. On the drive, Belly suddenly asks Jeremiah to stop the car. She leans in and kisses him, and together they decide to start a relationship. Later that night, Belly wakes to a message from Conrad asking her to meet him outside. Down on the beach, he gives her the infinity necklace and finally admits that he's been thinking about her all along, confessing his feelings. Belly gives the necklace back to Conrad, telling him it's too late, then walks away and returns home. The next day is the debutante ball at the country club. Susanna wakes Belly herself, but senses she isn't excited and asks if she feels pressured into going. Belly admits that she did feel pushed, but says she wants to finish what she started. Susanna then tells her to get ready because there's a surprise waiting downstairs. Belly hurries down and is stunned to see that her mother bought her a different dress, realizing she hadn't felt comfortable in the one she originally chose. Belly is overjoyed and thanks her mom for noticing. Meanwhile, Steven goes to Shayla's house and confesses that he gambled away all his money, leaving him unable to afford a tuxedo. Shayla is furious, telling him he only wanted to show off but failed, and that he never needed to prove himself in front of anyone. Steven apologizes, admitting he won't be able to attend the ball. Shayla offers to give him money, but he refuses. Instead, she insists he borrow her father's suit, even if it doesn't fit perfectly, saying that's his punishment. Steven agrees, determined to make up for his mistake. Back at the house, Belly finishes getting ready to leave for the ball. Laurel allows her to drive for the first first time, which makes Belly ecstatic. Jeremiah comes outside to ride with her, and just before they leave, he kisses her. At that moment, Stephen arrives, sees them, and realizes they're together. He's upset, but waits until Jeremiah heads back inside before confronting his sister. Stephen asks about her relationship with Jeremiah, but Belly insists he trust her decisions and not interfere. Stephen warns her that getting involved could damage their bond with Susanna's family and affect everyone. Belly reassures him and drives off. At the club, Belly approaches Nicole and tells her that Conrad has always seen her as a little sister, and she was foolish to think there could ever be more. Nicole calmly replies that she isn't upset, adding that she came with another boy who likes her, and she likes him back. After a while, the debutantes get ready and step onto the stage to present themselves. At that moment, Susanna and Laurel arrive, welcomed by Conrad, Jeremiah, and Stephen. Jeremiah dances briefly with his mother, but he quickly notices she tires easily. Conrad steps in, changes the subject, and takes his mother inside to enjoy the party. John shows up to see Belly, and Cleveland is there as well, sparking tension between the two men over Laurel. The ball begins, and when Laurel sees Belly in her white dress, with Susanna glowing with pride beside her, she is struck with sadness at the thought of losing her best friend soon. She steps outside, and John follows her. Meanwhile, Conrad overhears Susanna's name in conversation and begins to suspect something is being hidden from him. Just before his dance with Belly, he sneaks his mother's phone and discovers through her emails that she has cancer. Overwhelmed, he runs out of the club in tears. Back inside, Belly stands alone without a partner until Conrad steps forward and dances with her. He's thrilled to be the one by her side, his happiness clear in that moment. Afterward, Jeremiah pulls Conrad aside, saying they need to talk about something important concerning their mother. Conrad reassures him not to worry, but Jeremiah is shocked to realize Conrad already knew about her illness. Feeling betrayed, he lashes out at his brother, and a fight breaks out. Susanna steps between them, demanding to know why they're fighting. Jeremiah blurts out the truth, that they know what she's been hiding. Belly, confused, asks what they're talking about, only to learn that Susanna has cancer and doesn't have much time left. Everyone returns home, devastated. Belly breaks down, feeling selfish for spending the entire summer wrapped up in her own feelings without noticing Susanna's illness. Laurel comforts her, trying to ease the guilt. Meanwhile, Susanna sits with her sons, who are shattered, begging her to try treatment again. Susanna tells them her chances are slim, but Conrad pleads with her not to give up. Finally, she agrees to try once more, for their sake. Laurel is overjoyed to hear her friend will fight again. The last week of summer passes with everyone focused on making memories together. On the final day, Belly sits with Conrad, who apologizes for the way he treated her all summer. Belly forgives him, understanding that he carried the heavy burden of knowing about his mother's illness alone. Conrad then tells her there's something else he needs to say. He moves closer, confesses his love, and asks her to give him another chance. Belly's heart soars, and she agrees, realizing her lifelong dream has finally come true.